All right. Well, here we go. I am going to choose another site, and I guess since we've been talking about Keras, I'm going to use Keras's Sprocket for today's. Oh man, hopefully my internet keeps up. Looks like it's dragging a little bit. Here it comes. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and log in to Keras. Now what we're covering today is going to be how to edit the new work order screen. So we're going to change the items that are showing up whenever you're creating a new work order. And then we're also going to edit the work order details screen. We'll look at how to edit request codes, and we'll discuss some priorities and what's acceptable or unacceptable response times. And then we'll get into creating and editing.
Dustin?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Dustin?
Yes.
Your voice was breaking up real bad.
Yeah. All right. Hold on one second then. The Wi-Fi here is sometimes too slow. I will be calling.
Welcome to GoToMeeting, online meetings made easy. There are 6 other callers on the call.
All right, sorry about that. I guess my internet's a little bit slow to be running the streaming this and my voice. So, okay. So the first thing we're going to go over is how to edit the new work order screen. See, I just logged into Keras's site. Can everyone hear me okay now?
Yes. Better.
Okay. So this is more of an administrative type task. And so we are going to start by clicking on administration. And then we're going to go to work management. And you see there's a lot of stuff under work management, so feel free to click around in here and look at your stuff. And this is where the administrators are going to set everything up. So we are going to go to Request Screen Manager. This is where we set up our screens. Now for the most part, most people only have 2 work types. You have a work order and you have a preventative maintenance. So we want to change the work order screen. So if you start typing work or work order, it's going to populate. And then here we have a couple of options. We'd set up 2 different kind of templates. The normal work order template is there. That's the one we'll modify today. But we also set up a biomed equipment. And the main difference is we're asking for a little bit more information when you put in a biomed work order. You click on work order. And depending on the resolution that you have on your screen, these 2 columns may be side by side like mine, or this column on the right may be below the column on the left. Now this is actually really simple, and what you see is on the left are the available columns, on the right are the columns that we're using. These are what's going to populate on the new work order screen and what people have to fill in. So currently, whenever someone creates a new work order, it's at Keras. Supervisor is one of the top blocks. If we didn't want supervisor, all you have to do is click in the gray area, drag and drop it over to the available fields, and let it go. Now it's not on the new work order screen anymore. If we wanted to add something like craft, if we wanted the craft on there, you can click on craft and drag and drop it on the right-hand side where you want it to be too. So if you wanted it to be the bottom item, you drop it on the bottom. If you wanted to make the item required, all you have to do is check or uncheck this box. When it's checked, it's required, and it'll be outlined in red so everyone knows that it's required. If you did not want it to be required, just don't check it. This spacer here is what adds a new column. So if you wanted 2 columns on your new work order screen, just drag the spacer over. I'm going to put it above shop, so it'll split the new work order screen at shop. After you get it the way you want it, all you have to do is click Save. Now, I probably should have showed y'all what it looked like before we started editing it, but that is okay. I went ahead and saved it, and we'll go to the new work order screen just to show you what it looks like, and then we'll edit the work order details screen. So I'm going to click New Work Order, and you'll see Craft will be the bottom one on the right-hand side, and we're going to have two columns because I put that spacer on above Shop. So I put the spacer here, which gave me two columns, and I added Craft to the bottom. I did not make it required, so I'm going to go ahead and create a test work order real quick. We went through creating a work order last week, so if you don't remember or need any training, you can watch the video. It's on the X Drive, and I put it on YouTube. Okay, now I'm going to go in and view the work order details. So to do that, you have to go to Manage Overview, which we also covered last week. And then we're going to click on the work order number. So this is the work order I just created. I can see because it was requested by me, and it's the last one since I just made it. So when I click on the work order number, it takes me to the work order details screen, and I get to see a lot more information. So here's all the information I see on the work order details screen. Now the same thing applies. If we want to change anything here, we can do it from the Request Screen Manager. Like, say, I do not want it to show the supervisor. Whenever you go back to Administration, Work Management, down to Request Screen Manager, sorry, my internet connection is kind of slow, but I'll go to Work Orders again and click on Work Order. And we'll go to the work order screen. Now again, this is still the new work order screen, and you see that right here under screen type. I have new work order saved right now. If I want to go to work order details, you just select it from the drop down. And it's going to take me to the same type of view we just saw. And I have all these options, and I said I wanted to take the supervisor off. So I'm going to scroll down until I see supervisor. There it is. Now drag and drop it from the right-hand column to the left, come back up and save it, and now it'll be gone from my work order details. So you can use this to kind of clean up all of your information and get the information that you want on the screens that you want. I'm just going to go back into my work order details, which you can see it is in fact gone. Okay. So I no longer have supervisor as a block on my right-hand side. Now something else you can look at from the work order details screen, this history tab. If you ever have any questions about who opened the work order, who closed the work order, you can go into work order details, click on the history tab, and here you can see where everything was generated. So at 2:05, Dustin Powers did something, and if I expand this out by clicking the plus sign. Okay, so no records to display. It must be where it's creating. All right, making me look crazy. Okay, here we go. So I gave it a new, it's adjusting the escalation scores, what it's doing right now, because Keras has some escalation scores set. And you can see the value that it's going to. It's going in from the scheduled state, and then it went into the assigned state all at the same time. But if you come in here, you can see where work orders are closed, where they're assigned, any time a status changes or time is posted to it or anything like that. So the next thing we're going to go into real quick is how to edit request codes. Now again, request codes are going to be under Administration and then Work Management. Administration, Work Management. Now it's kind of misleading, but request types, you shouldn't have to change much. The request type is work order or preventative maintenance or major types. Requests are the request codes. This is going to be like lighting or roofing or plumbing. So whenever you click on requests, you can come in and you see we have a whole bunch of preventative maintenance request codes in here. If I just wanted work order request codes, I can click on search, and then for the request type, I'm going to put work order, just to kind of narrow down the number of things I'm looking at. So there's only 71 different work order request codes. So here you can see what they are, or you can make a new one. Like I'm going to make a new request by clicking New Request at the top of Requests. And then from here you get to name it. You'll put the request type. I'm going to make one called VRI Safety Meetings. This will be for our weekly safety meetings. I'm going to make it a work order. And you put in as much information as you can. So weekly VRI safety meetings. You can put in an estimated time, and if you have accounting codes or anything like that, you can fill in as much as you can. And I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Exit. And this is going to add a new code, so whenever someone starts putting in a work order, if they wanted to put a work order in for your weekly safety meeting so you can have people post time to it, that'll now be an option. And you can see it, or sort it alphabetically. So there we are, VRI safety meetings. And then again, if I created a new work order, the request type is work order. If I type VRI or VRI safety meetings, whatever, it comes up, click on it. So now you can create a work order with the VRI safety meetings. Okay, the next thing we're going to go to is people, because this is one of the basic tasks that most of you will have to do. Again, under Administration, Work Management, and then this is where we'll create different users. So here at Keras, they only have just a few folks. I don't see Phrase here, so we're going to make Phrase a new person. I'm going to click on New Person. And we'll go ahead and create them. We'll give them the username Louise Granger, or F. Granger. Then a title.
Anybody else's screen stuck?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
What's that?
Screen stuck.
My screen is still showing Request Manager from a couple of several steps ago. It's frozen.
Oh yeah, I've done a couple of things since then.
Yeah.
I'm going to try pausing my screen and starting it back. You guys do anything now?
Yeah, it's still the same.
Okay. Do I have anything now?
It's still the same.
Okay. Let me know when it comes in. It's still not coming yet?
No, it's still on Request Manager.
Okay. I guess my connection's even slower than I thought today.
Okay, now it's showing that it is saving and it's on person. Okay.
Okay, good. Well, the way you got here was through Administration, Work Management, People. I'll re-click it and we'll. Yeah, let me know if it pauses up again so I'm not clicking too far ahead. And then I clicked on New Person to get me to the New Person screen. But since I already created him, I'm going to go in and edit him. You just have to click on the username to edit a person. Okay, and then I started typing in his name. I gave him the username, F. Boulanger. I put in his title, first name, last name, email. Probably want to put a phone number if you can. And I like to save it before I go to each tab. Next tab is employee. Now, what your options here are, the first block is employee. Now, you can check that if you're going to assign work orders to them. I'm not going to check phrases an employee because I'm really not going to assign work orders to them. You'll still be able to manually assign work orders, but in that drop-down that we looked at last week on the left-hand side, whenever you're creating a new work order, for someone to be in that list, they have to be marked as an employee. Otherwise, you can still manually assign them or use your dispatch action to assign someone that's not got that box checked. But I'm also going to mark him as a supervisor. You can check supervisor, and then if you want to put who phrases supervisor is, you just go in here and select it. Now, the benefit to doing this is whenever you're logged in and you're under work management, when you go to My Work Orders, if you look at My Work Orders, it shows you all the work orders that are assigned to you, as well as all the work orders that are assigned to your employees. So if JP is my supervisor, when he clicks there, he's going to see all of his work orders and all of my work orders, so he can keep track of making sure I'm doing my job right. If there were a vendor, you can put the vendor in. You can select wage rate and put in the wage. Now, this is something that I'm kind of a fan of. It's up to you if you want to do it at your site. But what this does is it lets you track how much you're spending on each work order by putting in their hourly rate. So you can kind of track to see make sure you're using people as effectively as you can. And then if you want to put a birthday in, there is a birthday reminder on here where you can set up a report where it'll email you every time someone's birthday comes to tell you, hey, don't forget it's Thursday's birthday. So I'm going to save it again, and the next tab over is groups. This is a very important tab. Here's where you're going to set people up as, in this case, we'll make them an administrator. So you want to type the group that they're going to go in. I'm going to put them in the sysadmin group. When you click that. And then if you get a web requester, so the web requesters don't get to see as much as other people, you could type web requester and get it and add them. Or if you wanted to add someone to the technician group, because your technicians have some options, but they won't have like administration, so they can't come in here and add people. They can't modify a lot of stuff. They can just view it and print their work orders or close their work orders, something along those lines. Now, interesting is when you have multiple users like this, he phrases an admin, he's a technician, default user, and web requester. When there's a conflict, it always goes with the most restrictive. So if I did this to him, he would see the web requester screen pretty much. He wouldn't have these other options because it goes with the more restrictive of them. So usually what I do is only put people into two groups, the default users group and whatever group they go in. And the reason that I do that is the default users group is not restricted. It's pretty much an administrative group. But then if I want to share something, I share it with the default users group so that everybody gets it. Otherwise, I would have to share it individually with the technician group and the web requester group and everybody. So I leave everyone in the default users group just for simplicity. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and save it again. I have them as an admin. The next tab over is dispatch. And here's where we can start setting his shop. So phrases in POM. I'm going to add him to the POM shop. And then we'll go ahead and set his craft. I'm going to say he's electrical. So I'm going to add him to an electrical. and then we set a location. We'll select it from the drop down here. Say phrase only works with the AFC. So we're going to click on it, and so it added it, and I'm going to make it as default. Then if you had any specific pieces of equipment that phrase is uniquely trained on, you can put it in here too. So I'm going to say specifically my boiler guy. So I'm going to add the boiler for him. And maybe I want to add the second boiler to it. And now the reason that you do this is, if you remember again from the new work order screen, on the top left-hand side there was an assign employee area, and I told you that Sprocket will try to assign the proper employee based on the work order. So right now, if we assign someone to work on one of these boilers at this location with an electrical craft code in the POM shop, it's going to know phrase is the best suited for this because he's met all these criteria. If you only have one of them, if it matches, it's going to rank phrase up there. If you have nothing, though, it's probably not going to select them because then it just goes alphabetically. The next tab over is schedule. Now, phrase does not have a schedule set, so I'm going to go ahead and click new schedule. Now, again, the benefit to this is if you post at any time to your Sprocket and you see a pop-up that pops up and it'll tell you you've tried to post 0.5 hours to phrase more than phrase is scheduled to work, it's because he doesn't have a schedule put into Sprocket, so you can come in here and put it in if you want. I'm going to put one in for him. And again, this will go into selecting the right person for the job. So if you're putting in a work order at 6 a.m., but phrase doesn't come to work until 8 a.m., it's not going to recommend phrase. It's going to recommend someone that's at work. Phrase works a lot, so I'm going to give him from 12 to 7. And repeats daily. Every weekday is going to be a standard work. So, sorry. We'll go ahead and get him scheduled. We're just going to stick him in the master location because he works everywhere. So we saved him. Now he has a saved schedule. So again, the more information you put on everyone, the better, and the better reporting we're going to get out of it. That pretty much covers new person. And the permissions and everything that I told y'all we were going to cover this week. So what I'm going to cover, does anyone have any questions? Anybody? Anything you want me to show you again, or no?
No.
Is anyone still on this call?
Yep.
Hey, Boomer.
Justin.
Yeah.
Hey, last week you were talking about a user being able to close without comments or something, and then the supervisor being able to, I don't know, something with comments. Where do we find what that person can do as far as their accessibility? Because Shane was here, we logged in under Shane. He can close with comments or just close it. And he's just not as a supervisor. Mm-hmm. If you go to him on there,
okay.
I don't know what group have what power to do, because Shane is in our system, but he was here and I logged on to him with him sitting next to me. We went ahead and closed out a work request with comments.
Okay.
And I didn't think the employee was allowed to do that.
What they should have is, I assume you were at the Manage Overview screen. And dispatch action. What he should have is mark complete. And his mark complete will have closing comments where he can type closing comments. And what I will show you here is, so see the status says completed, and that's right. What the technician should be able to do. So when you log in as the manager and you see it completed, you will need to come in here and review his comments. And you can do that by clicking I or going in. So, well, that one didn't really show, so I guess you got to go into the work order details. And it's populated, so you come down and look at my notes, and you see I just put work was done, so you can say that's not a good comment, Dustin, go back and give me another one. But from the manager review, what the manager should see is mark complete. You'll have that option as well. But you want to do close with remarks. Now, Shane can see close with remarks. I may need to adjust it. So this verifies he sees close with remarks and not just completed, mark completed. And then this is the manager's closing comments.
Right. He has both options under his as well, just like mine.
Okay. Well, I'll adjust that when we get off here because we shouldn't. We must have just not set the TOM group up right. You see, whenever you close it, it goes to close status. Now, once it goes to close is when the email goes out to whoever the request is and tells them your work's been complete. It's been closed as of this date. So I'll double check Shane's permissions in just a second.
Now, is that something that you change as far as programming, or is that something that we can change here on site?
It is something that y'all can change on site, and we'll get into that probably a little bit more later. If you want to get into it some more after this call, we can talk. In fact, I want to talk to Shelley after this is over anyway.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
No.
Okay. The last thing that I want to talk about is priorities. If you go to Administration, Work Management, and then down to Priorities, you'll see what priorities you have in the system. What I really want to talk about, though, is what acceptable response time is for them. Now, see, this one has quite a few. I have stat. If you click on it, you can get in. You can create new ones, or you can change them. So here we have the interval, and this one's done in hours. I'm not real sure what SLA means. So you can set what's acceptable and what's not. You can set it in hours, calendar days, business hours, business days, etc. So I'd like everyone to take a look at your priorities and what acceptable response times are. I know where I am right now, we decided immediate response time and 2 hours to complete the work order for an emergency. For an urgent, we gave them 1 hour to respond and 1 day to complete the work order, or before the end of the duty day. And then, so just kind of go through yours and kind of set up some priorities and timelines, what's acceptable response time at your individual accounts. So next week, the topics that I have picked are customizing reports. So next week, we're going to learn how to customize, like your Manage Overview screen. You'll notice for Keras, it looks like I've already added notes. That's not one that normally comes on it. So you can see when notes were added, who it was added by. You can see the location. You can see priorities. Any information we have on the work order, we can put on this screen. So that's what we're going to cover next week, is how to modify this and put the information you want to see on it. We're also going to go over how to create a new preventative maintenance schedule. So if you have a new piece of equipment, or if you want to modify some PMs you already have, we're going to look at that next week. And we're also going to look at how to create an inspection. At some sites, what I would recommend doing is actually creating inspections as the PM. The benefit to that is, for an inspection, for instance, if you created a water temperature inspection, and I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but you can set an acceptable range. So if the water temperature's between the hot temp between 110 and 130, it's good. But if it's below 110 or above 130, you want to generate a work order to go fix it. With an inspection, it can auto-generate a work order whenever it fails a certain criteria. So if you put in 140 degrees and you close that inspection, it's going to generate a work order that says, water temperature too hot, adjust. So that's what we're going to cover next week. Other than that, it's 2:30. It's time to get off. If anyone has any questions, feel free to give me a call. We'll talk about it and we'll look at it. But like I said, Brian, I'm about to send Shelly another one of these invites so that we can cover some stuff that I know she said we needed to look at.
Okay, are you going to call us or are we calling you after this?
I will call you.
Okie doke.
All right. Thanks, sir.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everybody.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dustin.